The first time we did a Q&A, it was kind of an impromptu thing. We just threw it together. But now it's almost the highlight of getting to cook with you is stopping and answering questions because I learn stuff
Q&A.
every single time. A special thank you to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Are you trying to eat better but just struggling with the time it takes to prepare every meal? Factor might be just what you're looking for. Factor delivers fresh, never frozen, chef-crafted meals right to your door, ready in just 2 minutes. No prep, no cleanup, just heat, eat, and enjoy. And it's not just meals. Factor offers over 60 add-ons from smoothies, snacks, breakfast options, and cold pressed juices just like these to keep you fueled throughout your day. Cold pressed juice can be a game changer. It's packed with vitamins and nutrients, helps support digestion, and can give you a natural energy boost without all of the artificial ingredients. Whether you need a morning pick-me-up or a midday refresher, Factor's cold pressed juices are a great way to stay hydrated and feel your best. Guys, these chef-created meals are so good, but the best part? No grocery runs, no meal prep, no piles of dishes, just great, fresh, never frozen meals ready in 2 minutes. Factor makes it easy to stay on track with your routine, and right now Factor is hooking you guys up. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use my code 50BatesKitchen to get 50% off of your first box plus free shipping. That's 50BatesKitchen at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Once you try Factor, you'll never go back. Quick, delicious, and totally stress-free. I mean, what more could you ask for? Click that link, grab your discount, and enjoy.
Okay, you got some questions for us?
I have a lot of questions.
Oh boy,
and I think people on Instagram have got to where they look for these, and they're just sitting there with these questions saved up.
I love to watch Q&As.
I can't keep up. I enjoy them too.
I learn a lot.
Here's one. It's so great to see you doing well, Kelly Jo. A great way to start because you are back, and this is your first time back in the kitchen after a big scare.
Oh my goodness! So if y'all didn't know, it scared me. It scared the family. I went into the emergency room. I had turned septic from a kidney infection that I didn't even know I had. I really didn't even have any symptoms for it. I did get a kidney stone, which is what the pain got me to go to the hospital, but it's a good thing because I had the infection I didn't know about. So I'm back.
We got there and you were completely out of it. And that's the only time in my life that I've ever seen you where you were just not really responsive to any kind of
it was
talking to or anything.
Scary time, especially for the family.
For Dad, you could see Dad, he was truly, I think, and all the kids. I mean, it amazes my mind that every kid in your family made it to South Carolina in a 30-hour time period. I mean,
that's how I knew
plans,
it was serious. Kids kept coming in, and I thought they must be here to tell me bye.
We were not wanting to tell you bye, but we were very.
The Lord has been good, and I know it was prayers of people, and I feel totally 100%. I'm back playing with grandbabies. I'm fixing to get to go back to Papa Bill and Mama Jane's to the farm for the first time since I got sick, so I'm excited about that.
Well, I'm glad you stopped by here on the way.
Yes.
Because it was good. I'm telling you, though, I think it set a lot for me, realizing that, you know, the life you're used to, and as much as you enjoy it, as much as you think it'll never change, it could change in a minute. And Dad always said that. Yes. But it really hit home because there was a lot of similarities to what happened with Whitney's dad.
Yes,
being septic and passing away. So there was a lot
of
fear. And we were on the way down there the whole way. We're driving down there, and I-40's out, so we had to go through that winding, nasty mountain road.
Yeah.
But it was like, you know, this is a life-changing trip.
It makes you really value relationships because you know, a lot of people have been through an experience that's scary like that, and sometimes there's a loss of life and a loved one, and that's hard. It's very difficult, but it's going to make us treasure every moment.
And I think it was one of a good situation from the worst possible situation to some good outcomes. It was good to see everybody in the family because everybody tries to get together. Everybody tries to make it to what they can, but not everybody can make it to every party. Not everybody can make it to every event. And seeing everybody really drop and show that family is that important. And they were all there, and everybody was just really coming together. That was a big thing to see.
Yeah. It meant a lot, and especially getting some of the messages from people saying they were praying or they had, you know, a similar experience. It meant a lot. So thank you guys.
Well, we love you, Mom.
Maybe start crying.
Okay, here's a good one. So glad you're feeling better, Mama B. A lot of people really were praying for you there. Were there any scenes on Bringing Up Bates that were reenacted?
Okay, so let me say this about filming is it was as reality as you could get reality But in saying that, one of our film director's favorite sayings is, we do it nice because we do it twice. So let me give you an example. If, for instance, we're filming in a restaurant and they don't have many cameramen there, they film you walking into the restaurant, but because there was nobody to get the front shot, they have you re-walk in and the cameraman readjust so that they can either be behind you or in front of you.
So the first time we're walking in, you've got all the cameras behind you and you're all walking past them. Then everybody leaves the restaurant. The cameramen go inside, they reset up, they readjust their lighting, change the white balance on the cameras, and you're out there waiting awkwardly. People are walking in looking at you like, what are these nuts doing? And you're thinking, what are these nuts doing? And you're the nuts. And the next thing you know, they're telling you can come in now, and you're all walking back in, and they're like, stop. You were third in the line. You need to move. Y'all all go back outside.
Yeah.
This is the order you're supposed to be in. So we would shoot things from multiple angles. And the other thing, too, you'd shoot interviews, and they'd realize, oh, we missed an interview. So we need an interview. Well, you were pregnant in that interview. So we had, they'd put the big old bellow.
That didn't happen often, but occasionally.
Yeah, there were times that you have to do it.
But for the most part, the only things that we had to reenact was really if you're walking into an elevator, walking through a door, everything else was as it happened. They really strived because a lot of the reality shows were moving to a scripted version.
We never scripted.
Our film crew really strived very hard to make it as close to realistic as possible. So I would send them a calendar of things we already had planned to do for the year.
And they'd be like, we're doing that, we're not doing that, we're doing that, we're not doing that.
And, if a kid acted up and we had to pause to talk to them, they would film it. So it was realistic in that sense. The only things that had to be reenacted were shots if they just didn't have enough cameramen. Probably the most awkward reenactment we ever had to do was somebody was skydiving and we were watching them, but the cameramen didn't get the right angle, so they wanted to refilm it, and they told us we had to all stare in the sky, but there was no skydiver anymore. Skydiver coming down, so we were all
they got the shots of the skydiver, but they needed cameramen and all the people watching, so they're like, everybody got to watch like Nathan's coming down. I think it was Nathan skydiving.
Right.
Everybody's got to watch like he's coming down, even though he's not up there. So everybody had to be everybody had to be looking at the same point, or else you have everybody looking up. Some people looking over here, and some people looking over here.
But other than that, I will say our crew did an excellent job of trying to keep it real and raw, the word they used today, raw, real. Yeah. They really did. And so I feel like other than just the little minor things of going entrances and exits.
It didn't feel minor when we were all waiting outside the restaurant hungry. Is there an I Love You Day this year?
Okay, there is an I Love You Day, but
it is not in February.
When I was in the hospital, all of the kids traveled down, and they had just traveled down for Dad's 60th birthday, so that made a lot of expensive trips right in a row. So we decided to postpone it to March. We didn't know how long recovery would take for me.
Well, they told you it could be a couple months.
Right. So I'm doing great. We are going to have it. I will say it's going to be a lot smaller this year.
What's the theme?
The theme is the 50s. But I'm just going to be honest. I've even been questioning that because it's a smaller crowd.
I could come as Elvis when he's older.
Oh, goodness.
I could be the fatter version of Elvis.
Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness. Okay, don't even
Does
make
Elvis
me
wear
laugh.
a cowboy hat?
Don't make me laugh. A lot of people are coming in as characters, but I will say this. I have hesitated and thought about not doing costumes this year and just dressing up in nice Valentine's clothes, dressy clothes. Because
we've done that before.
Because it's a smaller crowd.
Wait, I've outgrown all my suits. I don't fit in any of my suits because my cooking is so good.
Oh, my goodness.
So I've got to lose weight before we do that.
Because they made several trips in a row, are not going to be able to make it back to Valentine's. So I will say it's going to be a lot smaller.
What are we eating?
You're the cook. Tell me,
you
did last year, and you did such a good job. Everybody voted.
Let me see if I can't build a group of people to cook this one.
I don't know.
I'm gonna reach out to Kelton and see if he wants to smoke something.
I'm game for that.
Maybe Evan's been cooking some steaks.
But if we do the dress up and everything, it's going to be 1950s. We've done 1920s, and we thought it'd be fun, the poodle skirts and all that.
Can we do the 80s? I would get a mullet for the 80s. Here's one. What are the top 3 things you did to raise such great kids? Obviously, they're thinking about me because this is my channel.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. You know what? My husband used to say this to everybody. If they act up, it's our fault. If they look good, we'll give God the credit for that. But if they act up, we'll take the blame for that. We are still learning in our parenting. I feel like parenting is one of those things you never feel like, I just accomplished it perfectly. There's so many things I wish I could press a redo button on. Well, anything that came out good, I guess it was just through prayer and through God, because we messed up.
I think y'all did a lot better job now that I have kids. How do you keep your son looking so young? Oh, your skin. How do you keep your skin looking so young?
Oh, my goodness.
I was thinking for a minute there. Well, okay. I do kind of.
I don't really have a skincare routine. I will say this. I am a sucker of a parent that supports every single thing my kids do. So if my kids put an advertisement on their channels, their Instagram or YouTube channels, I buy it.
I will tell you what Dad said. Those are to give people that are looking for that an idea. You don't buy every single thing you see come across your screen.
I'm one of those parents that wants to support their kids so hard. You see me reposting all of their YouTube channels.
You are a supporter.
And if they advertise it, I buy it. And they do. They advertise stuff that they use. They won't advertise it if they don't. And so I figure, they like it. I'm going to use it. So
it's for people that, if you're looking for what they're advertising, it's great because you save a little money. If you're not looking for it, you just roll on.
I'm the mom supporter that spends way too much trying to support my kids' ads. So I use whatever they're advertising at the time, and next month they may change to something else. So I don't really have a certain...
You don't have a certain go-to.
No.
She does.
And for many years, I didn't use anything at all. This is just in recent
growing
years.
up, one thing she always did, every Saturday, whether we needed it or not, we always took baths before church.
Gosh.
So that's always good. I highly recommend weekly washing. Community bath water. It's great. We had one bathroom, 8 kids, a 50-gallon hot water heater, so mine was always cold. So, little things I can think of that would help you out. But other than that, I'm at a loss. What would you cook to bring to someone's house who is recovering from surgery?
Well, you answer first. You're the cook. With the cooking show, and then I'll answer.
I'll tell you 2 things.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I would take somebody.
Okay.
And I would typically, if they're recovering and I'm cooking for them, one thing I brought you is that mushroom chicken. I really love that. It's something, you take over and they're going to eat right then.
Yeah.
If I was taking something to cook ahead, I'd take my chicken Alfredo penne bake, and then they could stick that in the refrigerator, pull it out, and bake it whenever they're ready.
When I was sick, Zach brought me some meals, and oh my goodness, there's nothing better than a good home-cooked meal.
When you're not eating
when
hospital
you don't
food.
feel like cooking. But I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be really real. I'm scared to take home-cooked dishes to people in the church now when they're sick or something, because I'm always scared they're going to find a hair in the food. Isn't that gross? I'm sorry.
You wear a pony.
I know, that's why my hair's up. I'm in that stage where, I lose a lot. So I'm scared too. So I buy the meals. I do it the easy route, and I know it's not as good as home cooked.
I'm going to check this timer.
Okay. Anyway, I take the easy way out and I buy the meals. And I know that's terrible to say on a cooking show. And I do love to cook. It's not that. And I cook for my own family because they'll forgive me. But I'm in that
Well, when
stage
we were growing
of life.
up, we were too broke to buy somebody KFC.
Yeah.
So we didn't take them a meal. But one of the things I always remember you taking was chicken casserole. And everybody loved it.
And I'll tell you another one I do love for taking to people is chicken pot pie, because you can make it.
One you always
can make it in the pie crust and just leave the cooking to them and tell them the cooking instructions. Just stick it in the oven when you're ready for it.
That's what I remember you doing the most was because you would say when you're
chicken pot
taking
pie.
meals to people, a lot of times you don't know how many other people are taking the meal. And you don't want to almost call and coordinate because they're going through enough. So you take it, but you hope it's not a burden. You want it to be a blessing. So you would always generally take chicken pot pie, chicken casserole, and you would wrap them in tinfoil.
The good thing about it is you can freeze it. If you don't want to eat it this week, you can freeze those dishes.
And you would put a little 3x5 card with the directions. It would be like, you need to eat it by this date. Preheat the oven to 350. Crumble these on top, drizzle the butter, and it would have all the little directions. And I remember so many people would come to you and be like, I have to have the recipe for either one of those. Now, I was not a big fan of chicken pot pie.
But it is a good one.
But it's a great one, and I actually don't mind it now. I actually like the new one that Michael makes. It's just chicken and bacon.
Yes,
there's no vegetables.
I do that a lot for the kids that are picky, or chicken and potatoes.
I was a picky kid. I'm not as picky as I was back then. I've really branched out. But I always I always loved the chicken casserole. So that's one that I've never forgotten.
And if it's for someone that's sick, you cannot go wrong with chicken noodle soup. You just cannot go wrong with that.
We need to do yours. I've done my recipe, but I really would like you to do yours on here.
With your homemade noodles, could you imagine?
Well, I don't even make my homemade noodles for my chicken noodle soup.
We should try that.
I just do egg noodles.
Oh, okay. That's what I do.
They really taste good.
Yeah, they are
with
good.
That. And they're so fast and easy. Because honestly, most of the time you're cooking chicken noodle soup when you're sick or somebody's sick, and you don't want to be in there making pasta dough.
My kids love chicken noodle soup, even if they're not sick. I mean, potato soup, chicken noodle soup, those are winners.
We're going to do it. We're going to do your version of chicken noodle and your version of potato.
You've got a potato soup.
I do.
On the...
But mine is, I have a chicken noodle too, but mine are my version. They're a lot more involved.
Okay.
I really like yours because yours were so fast and easy. You could literally throw them together in 30 minutes.
That's my motto, because I never knew if Dad was bringing home 50 people entertained. I never knew.
We're going to get to those. Here's another good one. Favorite family recipe of all time, one you always have to have.
Oh my goodness, that's hard. Okay, I will say if I was taking a vote for everybody hands down would say roast. Okay. If I'm making a meal.
What's yours? If you were going to eat something, last meal, you just got sentenced to death in prison and they're bringing you one last meal. Did that have a dark enough turn to it?
It would be one of your meals, which I can't recreate, but I'm hands down, Zach has become.
So what would your favorite one be? Pick one dish.
It would be what you made for mine and Dad's anniversary that time, that steak.
The steak, yes.
Dinner that you made.
One of the simplest. Steak is the simplest thing you can cook.
But I would have to have those stuffed mushrooms with it. Okay. That's the key. Zach and Whitney's stuffed mushrooms are literally, I would eat them for a meal and nothing else. They're to die for.
Roast for everybody, steak and stuffed mushrooms for Mom.
Yes.
I love it.
Absolutely.
So Zach, what is your favorite dish from childhood your mom made? Honestly, it did not start out as my favorite dish. Mom forced me to try it one time because I was complaining. I was a picky kid. It was chicken casserole, and I remember we had a bunch of company over, which was pretty standard, and Mom's like, you have to eat a bite of this. She goes, you can't. And I turned it away several times before, the other time she had made it, because I didn't like the way it looked. And so I finally tried a bite, and I didn't want to admit it, but I liked it. So I ate my plate, got seconds, and my birthday was coming up. And when she asked me what I wanted to eat for my birthday, I'll never forget. I said chicken casserole. And she was shocked. She's like, you liked it that much? I think she was shocked because she didn't really believe I'd like it when she told me. I've done the same thing to my kids. I'm like, you have to at least try it. You'll probably like it.
Very picky. So
very I was the least likely to start cooking and enjoy it.
And now you have such a wide variety of things you like.
I still don't
you
like
eat more
lima beans and peas, though.
But you eat more things than I eat, even. I mean,
Whitney got me out of my box. Whitney got me to try fish, and that really I was like, okay, if I like fish this much, then I'm going to try everything else and see if I like it too.
And now look at you cooking all this fancy stuff. Wow.
Well, I don't know about fancy, but I enjoy trying new things. But is this another person asking who was the most difficult child? We can't talk about my siblings like that. Ask her who her favorite child was, and we can talk about me all you want to. But we aren't going to talk about the other kids. It's horrible.
I have certain ones of my kids that like to steal my phone, and I'm not technical, but somehow they go in on my contacts and they change their contacts so that it says their name, and then it says my favorite son or my favorite daughter, so that every time it rings, my phone announces it's so-and-so, your favorite son, your favorite daughter, and I don't know how to change it back. So the other kids will hear it and they'll be like, why did you put that in there? Well, Callie right now
has herself set up on your voicemail as it's Kelly Jo Bates' favorite daughter.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So they're constantly playing little tricks like that, saying they're the favorite.
How to encourage boys just being boys just by nature.
You know what? I think that having older brothers was the key for me, because they wanted to get out.
You don't have to brag on me like that, Mom. It's okay.
They wanted to get out and copy their older brothers. If the older brothers were playing basketball or football or starting fires, they wanted to go do whatever the older brothers.
That was a big thing for one of them.
Oh, no.
That did turn out to be quite a big thing. That was a big thing, yeah. So what your other brother taught him to start fires in the laundry room?
Let's not even go there. I was meaning campfires.
Oh.
Safe fires.
You should have explained to them you meant that before they burnt the house down.
Oh my.
How many grandchildren do you have now, and how many are on the way? Oh, that's a trick question. They're trying to get unannounced news out of you.
I'm trying to think. Are they all announced? I think I have 32 that are here, and
more coming.
I have several more coming. I'm trying to think who is announced and who hasn't. I know that I definitely have 2 more coming in June.
That's good. So we're stacking up pretty quick. I don't even know all their
Or
names.
September is one too. I don't. You know what? Never mind. I have some more coming. I don't know. I don't know who and I don't know when. You're scaring me now. I don't know who's announced what.
I'd rather you be the one to spill it than somebody else. That's the problem in this family. So many on YouTube. Everybody's telling somebody else's news.
Now that I think of it, I don't have that many as I announced. Hasn't announced yet, has she?
Don't put that part in. Cut that out. Your mama has set the bar for the kind of mama and grandmama I want to be. She loves you all so well. Honestly, she has set the bar for the kind of mama I want to be as well.
My goodness. No, I'm still learning. There's a lot of role models I have out there, but my goal is
just keeping up and remembering names is a big portion. I didn't think, honestly, I hate to tell you this, but growing up, I didn't think it was that big of a deal that you had 19 kids.
It seemed normal, didn't it?
It did seem normal. And people would brag about my mom and I'd be like, she's just a regular mom.
Yeah.
And then I had a kid and I'm like, oh my word, my parents were crazy. How in the world? There's no way. There's just no way. I grew up there and I don't see how we all survived.
We did the same things. Me and Dad will read some parenting books and we'll be like, wow, our parents really did a good job. They did way better than we're doing.
Job. I always think, I compare myself to, I'm struggling. I have 5 kids and I struggle to find the time to invest individually in each kid. And I'll go back and think, how in the world did I feel close to my parents around 19 kids and not feel forgotten? Because there was a lot of people around and they always were making time. I always saw you making time with other kids. I always saw you making a point to do something specific with other kids. But at the same time, I never felt like I wasn't getting time either. Now, I don't see how you got any sleep.
Well, I will say, Zach was one of those kids that he would come in from work, and the first thing he'd do is pick up one of his little siblings, toss him in there. But I'll remember him always coming to my bedroom and sitting on my bed and talking. He was a talker. So
It's easy
to be close when you're a talker, and you would call me. Even when you got married, you'd call me, regularly, consistently. And I love that. I love
Jackson,
keeping up
he
those
calls.
relationships.
He's always calling and talking. I can always count on Jackson keeping me updated on all the Florida crew.
I love that.
Because he's good. He's in that stage where he's good to keep everybody in touch. Funniest kitchen story, cooking, baking, or something that happened at the Big House Kitchen.
Okay. I do have a funny story.
I love a funny story.
It's a horrible story. So
these are the best.
I'm terrible at desserts. I'm not a good dessert cooker. And I decided I had this recipe for this coconut cake with cream cheese and whipped cream that my step-grandmother used to make. And it was really good when she made it. It was one of those like stack cakes. That thing was this tall. But I was going to make it. I knew I would flop that. So I thought I'll make it, into like 2 layers and condense it. Well, I made that cake and I'm trying to ice it. And I guess you're not supposed to ice cakes when they're hot. And that thing just crumbled all over the counter everywhere.
I remember this.
So I got me a baking dish and I crumbled it up in there and I still poured the icing on top and we delivered it because I didn't have time to cook something else to go with the meal. We delivered it and the lady asked me, she said, that was the best cake. What is the recipe? What's it called? And I said, it's called coconut crumb cake. The crumb was an afterthought, but...
The crumble cake, the coconut crumble cake. And I remember when you told her the recipe, you gave her your grandmother's recipe. When you got to the cake part, you're like, and then you just crumble it all up in a big pan.
Pour the sauce on top.
Heat your eyes and I'm pouring on top. You just survive.
Yeah.
I mean, you were cooking for 19 kids. Well, only 16 kids at the time. So it wasn't like you were cooking for a big house full of people then. But you're cooking for 16 kids. And then you're also taking the time to go cook for some of the family. And honestly, knowing all the families we hung out with, they probably had 10 or 12 kids themselves.
Yes.
So everything was big portions.
Yeah. But I decided crumb cake was a better version anyway. You didn't have to worry about what it looked like.
You didn't have to worry about what it looked like. You just
it's going to look like our meatloaf that's coming out of the oven.
I made a mistake on the meatloaf, and so I'm going to fix this. You're not going to see it this way because I'm just going to redo it real quick. It's that fast. But I wanted Mom to get more shots of the ketchup because I wanted a shot of the ketchup going into the meatloaf. And the more ketchup you put in there, the more tendency it has to fall apart. And this one did exactly what you'd expect with more ketchup. So
crumble meatloaf.
That's not what we're going to air a video of. The meatloaf that you see is not going to be the crumble meatloaf. I'm going to get the measurements right. We're going to repost this. We're going to recook this here in just a second. What kind of kid was Zach and how has he changed? Be careful before you answer this because I'm sitting right here.
Okay. Okay.
So if you can't be honest, just say something nice.
Okay, what kind of kid was Zach? Zach was the most educated child. I think
You don't have to be too over the top. You can be realistic, too.
A set of encyclopedias, like when he was, 5 or 6, and was like reading through.
I was 12.
Yeah. I don't know. When
I
you
started
were
when I was
5
10 and I finished
but
when I
when
was
you
12.
were 5 or 6, we had a discussion at the dinner table.
That was the dictionary.
The dictionary he had read. He'd read the dictionary. Boy, he was a reader. And we sat down at the dinner table, and Zach asked me a question like he really wanted to know. He says, "Hey, Mom, what is a peanut? I
still do love to instigate.
Is a peanut a nut or a bean?"
A pea.
Pea. Is a peanut a nut or a pea? Peanut. And I'm thinking this inquisitive little 5 or 6-year-old has asked me because he wants to know. And I said, oh, it's a nut.
Yeah, that was 5 or 6.
I said, it's a nut. That's just part of the name. I don't know why they put the P in the name, but it's a nut. And he looks at me with this like, I got you look. And he goes, no, actually, Mom, it's not a nut. It's a
pea.
It's a pea. And I said, no, Zach, it's a nut. This little dialogue goes on back and forth.
Family dinner table discussion
for a while,
argument.
And all of a sudden I hear Gil just dying laughing in the background. And I'm thinking, what's he laughing about? And he says, honey, you might not want to correct him anymore.
And he hands you the
what?
dictionary.
He hands me the dictionary. And the peanut is actually from the
It's
legume,
a member of the legume family.
A member of the legume family. And I'm like, oh, who knew? So that was life with Zach.
I could be a little sarcastic. I did love to instigate things by asking people questions that I knew they would get wrong. And
I feel like
that.
as a homeschool mom, I feel like Zach was constantly teaching me.
No,
he would deliberately ask me a history question, and history is like not one of my top subjects. I have to go to the books, to teach from. And, he would be like, Mom, you might want to read up a little more. This is actually what happened. And he would give me this long synopsis of the historical thing that happened and things I'd never heard of. And I'm like, keep reading, Zach. Just keep reading.
Just how long? When was the War of 1812 fought? It's not a trick question, people. How does it feel to almost have all adult children?
Oh, it feels heartbreaking. I'm so thankful I've got grandkids.
I'm sitting here thinking, my kids are growing into adults way too fast.
No, it happens too fast. I mean, literally, Jeb just turned 13.
Yeah.
Everybody's a
11.
teenager up now. That's sad, guys. It's
scary.
Sad. Yeah.
Scary how fast they grew up. I remember when Jed was a kid.
Yeah.
No question, your mom is just beautiful, and I'm so thankful for her recovery. We are all thankful as well, and we are very thankful to each of you for your prayers and all the love you've shown the family during this time. How do you make time for everything?
Oh, I don't. I mean, I feel torn.
I feel like you make time for a lot.
I try to be there. Zach even told me once, he says, Mom, you can't make it to every single grandchild's birthday, so just try to make it at least to the first. Zach tried to help me one time. He said, you can't, I would put myself on guilt trips if I missed stuff, and he's like, you can't do everything. You've got to figure out, at least make it to this or that and prioritize.
Prioritize, yes.
Yeah, but also
I told you that when I wasn't this busy. Now I'm thinking, how am I going to keep up?
To give myself some leeway, but I try. I've got great kids that give me grace when I do miss stuff. But they call and remind me too. Hey, Mom, I've got this coming up or this coming up. I'd like you to be there.
You have the family group text, and it's like everybody's always putting the plans for everything on there.
And I've got a calendar. I've got lots of notes on my phone. I wake up. The first thing I do when I wake up, after I say my morning prayer, the first thing I do is look at my notes to see whose birthday's next, to see if I'm missing anybody's. Because, there's like 60 birthdays to keep up with now.
Miss Bates, who is your cooking inspiration, or are you self-taught? You look great. I know the answer to this.
Oh, you know what? I did not know how to cook when I got married. I had a great father that cooked and grandmother, but I did not know how to cook. They didn't teach me. So when I got married, I didn't know anything. And after I was married for a few months, Mama Jane started teaching me a few things and gave me some more confidence. And then a family in church, I learned a few things from them, and I just kept trying to build my confidence because when
Taste of Home magazine.
When we first got married, oh my goodness, I think your daddy ate spaghetti every day of the week for a couple of months. And when I say spaghetti, I mean a jar of sauce and noodles, and that was it. I mean, I knew nothing. He was very gracious. He always tried to encourage me. And I got
19 hungry kids and broke
I got pregnant.
Wallets.
I got
Became a
pregnant
great
early
motivator.
on. We had been married for 3 months when I got pregnant with you. And all those emotions that come with pregnancy, I would make a meal, it would flop, and I would cry. And Gil would pat me on the back and hug me and say, "It was wonderful, honey." He would lie. But
Dad can eat anything. The
Yeah.
man has a steel stomach.
He does. So lots of people encouraged me. Mama Jane, the very first thing she taught me to make was no-fail biscuits. They're
Is
called
that the muffin tin
mayonnaise. They're
biscuits?
called mayonnaise biscuits. You put them in a muffin pan and they come out perfect. And that was enough to just build my confidence to say, hey, I can make something that actually
So,
looks pretty.
I made those one time.
Yes.
And my little girl Chloe was just amazed. And the next time I was making my regular biscuits, she was like, basically talking about how Casey was sitting there talking to her, and she was telling my phone, it's in one of my reels, I saved it, it was so cute. And she's like, so we made this, and we made this. And she goes, and we made muffin biscuits.
Muffin biscuits.
She calls them muffin biscuits.
How cute.
And she still talks about muffin biscuits because they're biscuits in a muffin tin. But they truly are. They're no fail. You can't mess them up. And I was just curious, so I figured I'd try it because you always talked about them. I'm like, let's see if those work, just out of
I
curiosity.
will say every child that has gotten married has way surpassed my cooking skills. Once they've gotten married, they've each experimented with
come to
cooking.
enjoy it a little bit. It's a lot more enjoyable to cook for 4, 5, 6 people than it is to cook for 30.
Well, y'all were more creative. You know how to create
Well, we got a little more
dishes
time.
and
It
add
turns out that you didn't have much
spices
time growing up when we were growing
Didn't
up.
have a lot of know-how either. So that's why all my cooking's just salt, pepper, and real simple.
But if I ever want a fast meal to cook, if I ever want something just in a hurry, I always call Mom because I know she's got some recipe that you can throw together in 15 minutes for 50 people.
Yeah.
And
we
mine
always
are
had surprise
maxing
company.
out 6 or 7.
Dad brought home surprise company a lot, so you had to do a meal fast.
Do you have to eat differently since your kidney stones?
I do need to eat healthier, so my blood work showed that, I'm a little bit high in cholesterol, a little bit high in borderline diabetic, not diabetic, but getting borderline. And so some of my
Couldn't be all
levels
them Starbucks
show
drinks, could it?
It could be my chai latte. So I do need to make some changes. Y'all pray for me. Change is hard. What's that saying? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. So I am going to have to work on it. I did cut out my Starbucks, and I did good for about 8 months. Lost some weight doing it, and did really good. I mean, saved
for about a
money,
year.
cut out, close to a year, lost weight, but after being in the hospital, it's like my mind told me I needed that caffeine pick me up, and I got back addicted again.
I say that with a monster on the end of the counter.
So the weight, I've noticed the weight is starting to come back, and I'm starting to feel myself craving it and needing it. So y'all pray for me.
That is one thing that really, I think, woke me up this year. I'm trying to do better with my weight because I realized Dad was over here sledding with the kids, and the man's 60 years old. And he's up and down this hill like nothing. And I realized if I don't get myself under control, and I'm truly embarrassed for the weight I've let myself get to, and not to shame anybody else for where they're at, but for me, I'm not comfortable where I'm at, and I desperately want to make myself healthier. I'm trying to watch where I'm cooking and eating, my portion control, starting back exercising, because when I'm 60, I want to be playing with my grandkids the way Dad plays with his, not the way that I currently am headed.
So my goal is to stop the sweet drinks. I'm really shocked how many calories can just be in a drink. I'm often drinking my limit of calories for the day. Instead of eating my calories, I'm drinking them in a sweet drink.
And then you eat on top of it.
So my goal is to stop the sugar drinks again, and then to start exercising, because I look at Mama Jane's sisters. Her sister, Aunt Rose, is the oldest in the family now. And
she's like in her 70s
she's
or
95,
80s.
95, and her beach house is on the 2nd level, so she runs literally up her stairs and down them. She's so active. She still walks on the beach, 3 miles a day.
I can't run up the stairs to the 2nd level.
And she's done it her whole life, and Aunt Betty the same way. They just are in such good shape for their age. So that's my goal, is to add exercise.
Well, I'm trying. I've been walking.
Maybe
and doing
we need to be
walking.
We started one time. We were going to walk together.
Yeah, we did that once.
Once. Maybe we should revisit that.
We should, but the scheduling thing is always what gets me.
It's so hard.
Especially with real estate,
hard.
I never know what I'm doing in the morning versus the night. Or that is one thing. I hated the money of the sheriff's department. I was always broke. I hated the amount of time I was gone. It was crazy hours. I loved the job.
If I can come up with any excuse to sit on the couch and not exercise, I will.
But I feel like I'm gone more now than I was even as a cop, working 60, 70 hours a week. And now I'm in real estate, which should be way less hours, and I'm gone even more.
That's what happens when you have kids.
Yeah. Favorite dessert to make?
Favorite dessert? Wow, there's so many there's this friend of ours that her husband actually helped build our house, Rusty and Amy Cornett.
Yes.
And she would, while we were working on building the house, bring us this dessert often. It's that either strawberry or blueberry pretzel dessert.
Yes.
That would be my favorite dessert. I'm not much of a dessert eater.
Well,
but
you have the mock turtle cheesecake that you used to make a lot. And we put that on our channel.
Yes.
You have that congealed salad, which we keep promising to make, and we've never done.
I rarely make desserts, but now if I was going to say your dad's favorite dessert, he's got a couple. It would be lemonade pie and banana pudding.
Oh, I do make a mean banana pudding.
Lemonade pie,
but we're going to have to do lemonade pie with you because I've never made that one. You and Michael always made it, but I loved it.
Again, it's an easy dessert.
It's a freezer dessert.
It's like the sister to key lime pie.
It is, but it's got the lemon, which is more, to me, is a better flavor. I prefer the lemon over the key lime.
It's a good summer. So
and it's a freezer dessert. So you literally throw it in the freezer and you have it any time.
Yeah.
It's a great make-ahead.
Wait till it gets hot and we'll make that one.
So I really appreciate you guys, all you that submit questions, take the time to interact with the channel. I always do take the questions for all of these Q&As that we do, whether with my sister, my mom, some other family members coming up. I always announce those on my Instagram and get the questions from Instagram. So I appreciate all of you that follow me on Instagram. If you do want to submit questions and things like that, watch for when we're filming on my Instagram stories and submit those there, and we will try our best to feature them. I really appreciate the community here, though, and how involved y'all get in the comments and getting to talk to some of you guys here and there. Thank you guys so much for all the time listening through all of these and prompting so many of these memories with your questions. Thanks, Mom, for sitting here and doing it with us. And
we love the excuse to chat together, so thank you.
Watch for it next time. Check out some of the cooking videos and check out some of the other Q&As with my sister, other Q&As with Mom, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.